The parking lot was already packed when Maya pulled up to the wedding venue. She sat in her car for a moment, looking at the beautiful garden where white chairs were arranged in perfect rows. People in fancy clothes were walking around, laughing and taking pictures. Maya took a deep breath and checked her makeup in the mirror one more time. At 34, Maya had built her own tech company from scratch. She had 200 people working for her, and her business was doing better than Ryan Chen adjusted his tie for the third time and looked down at his two daughters. 8-year-old Chloe was trying to fix 6-year-old Amy's hair bow, which had gone crooked during the car ride to the wedding. They both looked adorable in their matching blue dresses, but Ryan could see the excitement building in their eyes. Weddings meant music, dancing, and cake, and his girls had been looking forward to this all week. "Daddy, do I look pretty?" Amy asked, spinning around so her dress would twirl. "You both look beautiful," Ryan said, his heart swelling with love for these two little people who had become his whole world. "Just remember what we talked about. We need to use our quiet voices inside and we stay close to Daddy, okay?" "We know, Daddy," Chloe said, rolling her eyes in that way 8-year-olds do when they think their parents worry too much. "We've been to weddings before, that was true, but not many. Not since their mother had died 2 years ago. Ryan's wife Kelly had been the social one in their family. She had been friends with everyone, always organizing play dates and dinner parties and family gatherings. Kelly would have known exactly what to wear to this wedding, would have helped the girls pick out perfect dresses, and would have made sure they all had the best time possible. Ryan was still figuring it all out. He had been friends with the groom, Tom, since high school, but they hadn't seen each other much in recent years. Life had gotten busy, and then Kelly had gotten sick, and then everything had changed. When the wedding invitation arrived 3 months ago, Ryan's first instinct had been to send a polite decline. Weddings were for couples and families, and Ryan wasn't sure he qualified as either anymore. But Tom had called him personally, asking him to come. "We miss you, man," Tom had said, "and the girls would love the party. There's going to be a kids' table and everything." So here they were, walking into the reception tent after a beautiful ceremony that had made Ryan think too much about his own wedding 10 years ago. Kelly had looked so radiant in her white dress, so sure about their future together. They had planned to grow old together, to watch their daughters graduate and get married and have children of their own. The reception was in full swing. Ryan found their assigned table and helped the girls into their seats. They were sitting with some of Tom's family members, nice people who immediately started asking Chloe and Amy about school and their favorite subjects. Ryan was grateful for the distraction. Small talk with strangers was not his strong suit these days. As dinner was served, Ryan watched his daughters' faces light up at the fancy food. They were used to his cooking, which was getting better but was still pretty basic. Chicken nuggets, spaghetti, grilled cheese sandwiches, the kind of food that kept kids fed and happy but probably wouldn't win any awards. Kelly had been the cook in their family, always trying new recipes and making meals that brought them all together around the dinner table. "Daddy, look how pretty everything is," Amy whispered, pointing at the centerpiece of white and pink flowers. "It is pretty, sweetheart," Ryan agreed. The whole place looked like something from a magazine. White lights hung from the ceiling, and every table had candles and flowers. It was the kind of wedding Kelly would have loved, the kind she would have taken pictures of to show Ryan later when they were planning something for their friends or family. When the music started and the bride and groom had their first dance, Chloe tugged on Ryan's sleeve. "Daddy, remember when you and Mommy used to dance in the kitchen?" Ryan's chest tightened. He did remember. Kelly would put music on while she cooked dinner, and she would grab his hands and spin him around their small kitchen while the girls giggled from their high chairs. Even after long days at work, even when the dishes were piling up and the laundry needed to be done, Kelly could always find a reason to dance. "I remember." "Baby," Ryan said softly. As more couples joined the dance floor, Amy looked up at her father with hopeful eyes. "Daddy, can we dance too, please?" Ryan looked at the crowded dance floor. There were parents dancing with their children, couples holding each other close, groups of friends laughing and spinning to the music. Everyone looked so comfortable, so natural. Ryan felt like he had forgotten how to be comfortable in situations like this. "Maybe later," he said, the same thing he always said when the girls asked him to dance or sing or do any of the fun, spontaneous things their mother had been so good at. "You always say maybe later," Chloe pointed out, her voice carrying just a hint of disappointment that made Ryan feel like he was failing them somehow. "I know. "Daddy's not a very good dancer," Ryan said, which wasn't exactly true. He and Kelly had taken dance lessons before their wedding, and they had been pretty good together. But dancing without her felt impossible, like trying to remember a song when you could only hear half the melody. "You don't have to be good," Amy said with the simple wisdom that only 6-year-olds possess. "You just have to move to the music." Ryan looked around the room, trying to distract himself from the conversation about dancing. That's when he noticed the woman sitting alone at a table near the back of the tent. She was in a wheelchair, wearing a beautiful dark blue dress, and she was watching the dance floor with the same expression Ryan recognized from his own face in the mirror lately. She looked polite and pleasant, but there was something sad in her eyes, something that spoke to the part of Ryan that felt like he was always watching other people live their lives while he figured out how to live his own. "Daddy, that lady looks lonely," Amy said, following his gaze. "She looks like you do sometimes." Ryan felt his heart skip. His younger daughter had a way of seeing things that adults tried to hide, and her observation hit him right in the chest. The woman did look lonely, but more than that, she looked like she was trying very hard not to look lonely. She was sitting straight in her wheelchair, sipping her champagne, smiling when people walked by, but Ryan could see the isolation in her posture. "Why do you think she looks lonely?" Ryan asked Amy. "Because she's sitting by herself while everyone else is having fun together," Amy said. "And she keeps looking at the dancing people like she wants to dance, but nobody asked her." Chloe studied the woman for a moment. "Maybe she can't dance because of her wheelchair. Or maybe," Amy said thoughtfully, "nobody thought to ask her because they don't know how to dance with someone in a wheelchair." Ryan was amazed by his daughter's insight. Here he was, 38 years old and supposedly wise about the world, and his little girls had immediately understood something that most of the adults in the room had probably missed. The woman wasn't just sitting alone because she wanted to. She was sitting alone because everyone else assumed she wanted to be left alone, or because they didn't know how to include her. "She probably misses dancing," Amy continued, "like how you miss dancing with Mommy." Ryan felt tears sting his eyes. Sometimes his daughters understood things better than he did. They saw the world without all the complicated fears and assumptions that adults carried around. They saw a person who looked sad and wanted to help. They saw their father missing their mother and wished he would try to be happy again. "What do you think we should do about it?" Ryan asked, not sure why he was asking 6- and 8-year-olds for advice about social situations. "We should ask her to dance with us," Amy said immediately. Amy, "We don't even know her," Chloe pointed out, always the more cautious of the two sisters. "So? We can meet her," Amy said. "Daddy always says we should be kind to people who look sad." Ryan looked back at the woman. She was still watching the dance floor, and there was something in her expression that reminded him of himself. Not the wheelchair, but the way she held herself. Like someone who was used to being strong and independent, but was tired of always being strong and independent. Like someone who was successful and capable, but sometimes just wanted to be included in the simple, joyful things that other people took for granted. "What if she says no?" Ryan asked. "Then at least we tried," Amy said with a shrug. "And maybe she won't feel so lonely knowing that someone noticed her." Ryan felt something shift in his chest. His daughters were right. This woman deserved to be asked. She deserved to know that someone had noticed she was sitting alone. Someone cared enough to include her. And maybe, if he was being honest with himself, Ryan needed to take his own advice about being kind to people who looked sad. Maybe they could all help each other feel a little less alone. Ryan sat at his table for another 10 minutes, stealing glances at the woman in the wheelchair, while his daughters finished their dessert. Every time he thought about walking over to her table, his stomach twisted with nerves. What would he say? What if she thought he was being weird? What if she just wanted to be left alone? "Daddy, you keep looking at that lady," Chloe observed, following his gaze. "Are you going to talk to her or just keep staring?" "I'm not staring," Ryan said, though he realized he kind of was. "I'm just thinking." "You think too much," Amy said, chocolate cake frosting on her chin. "Mommy always said that about you. She said you worried about everything before you did it." Ryan smiled despite his nervousness. Kelly had said that, usually right before she would grab his hand and pull him into whatever adventure she had planned. She had been the brave one, the one who made friends easily and never worried about what other people would think. The DJ's voice boomed across the reception tent. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a special dance. This one's for everyone who believes in love, in second chances, and in taking a chance on happiness." Come on out here, all of you! Ryan watched as people started moving toward the dance floor again. Couples, families, groups of friends, even some people who had come alone were joining hands and swaying to the slow music. The woman in the wheelchair was still sitting at her table, watching everyone else dance, and Ryan could see her fingers tapping along to the music on her lap. She wants to dance, Daddy, Amy said softly. Look, she's moving her hands like she's dancing in her chair. Ryan looked closer and saw that Amy was right. The woman was subtly moving to the rhythm, her shoulders swaying just slightly, her face showing a small smile as she watched the dancers. She looked like someone who loved music but had gotten used to enjoying it from a distance. What if nobody asks her to dance the whole night? Amy continued. That would be really sad. What if she goes home thinking nobody wanted to dance with her? Chloe added. Even though lots of people probably wanted to, they just didn't know how to ask. Ryan felt his heart racing. His daughters were right, and they were also describing exactly how he felt most of the time lately. How many times had he wanted to join in on things but convinced himself he didn't belong? How many times had he assumed other people were happier without him around? Okay, Ryan said suddenly, surprising himself. Okay, we're going to go ask her. Really? Amy's eyes lit up, really. But you two have to help me. I don't really know what to say. Just be nice, Daddy, Chloe said. Tell her she looks pretty and ask if she wants to dance. And tell her we want to dance too, Amy added. Maybe she likes kids. Ryan stood up and smoothed down his shirt. His hands were actually shaking a little, which was ridiculous. He ran a company's IT department, managed million-dollar projects, and gave presentations to rooms full of executives. But asking a stranger to dance felt more terrifying than any of that. Come on, girls, he said, reaching for their hands. Let's go meet someone new. They walked across the reception tent, weaving between tables and around groups of people talking and laughing. With each step, Ryan felt more nervous but also more determined. His daughter's hands in his gave him courage. They believed this was the right thing to do, and their simple faith and kindness made him want to be braver than he felt. As they got closer to the woman's table, Ryan could see her more clearly. She was probably around his age, with dark hair pulled back in an elegant style and wearing a beautiful navy blue dress. She had the kind of presence that suggested she was used to being in charge. But right now she looked vulnerable in a way that reminded Ryan of himself at every social event he'd attended since Kelly died. When they were just a few feet away, the woman looked up and noticed them approaching. Her expression was curious but guarded, like she was trying to figure out if they were walking toward her table or just passing by. Ryan's mouth suddenly felt dry. What was he supposed to say? How did you approach a complete stranger and ask them to dance without sounding like you felt sorry for them? Hi, he said, his voice coming out a little higher than normal. The woman looked up at him with intelligent brown eyes that seemed to be evaluating the situation. Hi, she replied, her voice warm but cautious. Ryan realized he was just standing there staring at her, and his daughters were looking up at him expectantly. This was the moment where he either followed through or chickened out and mumbled some excuse about looking for the bathroom. I'm Ryan, he said finally, and these are my daughters, Chloe and Amy. Hello, Chloe and Amy, the woman said, and her face softened when she looked at the girls. I'm Maya. Are you enjoying the wedding? It's pretty, Amy said immediately. But there's lots of dancing and Daddy won't dance with us because he says he's not good at it. Maya's eyes flicked back to Ryan with what looked like understanding. Dancing can be intimidating, she said diplomatically. The thing is, Ryan said, taking a deep breath, we noticed you sitting here and we thought maybe you might want to dance too. Maya's eyebrows rose slightly. She clearly hadn't been expecting that. I mean, Ryan continued, feeling heat rise in his cheeks. I know I'm probably making assumptions, and you might not want to dance at all. You might hate dancing. You might be perfectly happy sitting here enjoying the music and people watching, which is totally fine. But Amy pointed out that you were moving to the music. And we thought, Daddy, Chloe interrupted gently. You're talking too much, Maya laughed. A genuine sound that made her whole face light up. It's okay. I do like to dance, actually. I just don't get asked very often. Why not? Amy asked with the directness that only children possess. Maya looked at Amy thoughtfully, as if deciding how much to explain. Well, some people see my wheelchair and assume I can't dance, or they don't know how to dance with someone who uses wheels instead of feet. But you can dance in your wheelchair, right? Amy asked. I can, Maya said. I love dancing. I used to dance all the time before. She paused, then seemed to make a decision. I still love music. I just don't get many opportunities to dance to it anymore. Ryan felt his nervousness starting to fade, replaced by something else. This woman wasn't just being polite.
She genuinely wanted to dance.
She was stuck at her table for the same reason he had been stuck at his. Not because she didn't want to participate, but because she didn't know how to bridge the gap between wanting something and actually doing it. So, Ryan said, his voice steadier now, would you like to dance with us? I should warn you, I haven't danced in about 2 years, and even before that I wasn't exactly smooth. But these two are excellent dancers, and they've been wanting to dance all night. Maya looked at Ryan for a long moment, and he could see her thinking. She was probably weighing the risks of saying yes to strangers, wondering if this was genuine or if they were just being nice because they felt sorry for her. You don't have to if you don't want to, Ryan added quickly. We just thought it might be fun. All of us look like we could use a little more fun tonight. Maya smiled at that, and Ryan could see her decision forming. You know what? She said, setting down her champagne glass. I would love to dance. It's been way too long since I've had a good reason to move to the music. Amy clapped her hands together excitedly. Yay, this is going to be so much fun. Chloe looked pleased but tried to play it cool. We'll show you how we like to dance, Maya. Daddy's actually not as bad as he thinks he is. Ryan felt a warmth spreading through his chest that he hadn't experienced in months. This felt right. This felt like something Kelly would have encouraged him to do. She would have loved seeing him take a chance, seeing him help someone else feel included, seeing their daughters being kind and brave. Shall we head to the dance floor then? Maya asked, positioning her hands on the wheels of her chair. Let's do it, Ryan said, and meant it. Walking to the dance floor felt like the longest and shortest journey of Ryan's life. Maya rolled her wheelchair beside him while Chloe and Amy practically bounced with excitement on either side. Other wedding guests glanced their way, and Ryan wondered if they looked as nervous as he felt. The dance floor was crowded with couples swaying to a slow romantic song. Ryan suddenly realized he had no idea how to dance with someone in a wheelchair. What if he stepped on her wheels? What if he accidentally knocked into her? What if this turned into an embarrassing disaster that ruined Maya's evening? As if reading his thoughts, Maya looked up at him with a reassuring smile. Don't overthink it, she said. Just move to the music. I'll follow your lead. But I don't really know what I'm doing, Ryan admitted. Neither do I, Maya laughed. I haven't danced with anyone in years. We'll figure it out together. Amy grabbed Maya's hand before Ryan could respond. Can I dance with you first, Maya? I want to show you my spinning move. I would love that, Maya said, and Ryan watched as his 6-year-old daughter began twirling around Maya's wheelchair. Maya moved her chair in a gentle circle, keeping pace with Amy's spins, and suddenly they were dancing together like they had practiced it 100 times. My turn, Chloe said, not wanting to be left out. She took Maya's other hand and began doing a more sophisticated dance move she had learned in her school's dance club. Maya followed Chloe's rhythm, turning her wheelchair and moving her upper body in ways that complemented both girls perfectly. Ryan stood there watching his daughters dance with this woman they had just met, and he felt his chest tighten with emotion. They looked so natural together, so joyful. Maya's face was glowing with genuine happiness, and his girls were giggling and showing off their best moves. Your turn, Daddy, Amy announced, slightly out of breath from all her spinning. Ryan stepped closer to Maya, still not sure exactly what to do. The music had changed to something with a slightly faster beat, which somehow made it easier. He didn't have to worry about slow romantic dancing. He could just move to the rhythm, may I? He asked, offering Maya his hand. You may, she said, taking his hand in hers. Ryan was surprised by how confident Maya's grip felt. Her hand was warm and steady, and when she started moving to the music, he found it easy to move along with her. She wheeled her chair in smooth patterns around him while he stepped and turned, and somehow they created their own version of dancing that worked perfectly. This is actually fun, Ryan said, surprised by how relaxed he felt. It is, Maya agreed, her eyes bright with laughter. Your daughters are excellent dance partners, by the way. They make everything look effortless. They get that from their mother, Ryan said without thinking, then immediately worried he had said something wrong. But Maya's expression didn't change except to become a little softer. She must have been a wonderful woman, Maya said gently. She was, Ryan said. She loved to dance. She would have loved seeing this. They danced in comfortable silence for a moment, with Chloe and Amy dancing around them both. Ryan noticed that other wedding guests had started watching them, but not in the way he had feared. People were smiling, some were taking pictures, and a few couples had started dancing in a similar style, with one partner moving around the other in creative ways. I think we're starting a trend, Maya said, nodding toward a couple nearby who were copying their movement pattern. Is that good or bad? Ryan asked. Definitely good, Maya laughed. Dancing should be creative. There's no wrong way to do it. As the song changed again, Chloe tugged on Ryan's shirt. Daddy, can we talk to Maya while we dance? I want to know more about her. Is that okay? Ryan asked Maya. I'd love that, Maya said. I want to know more about all of you too. What's your favorite color? Amy asked immediately. Blue, Maya said. Like the ocean. What about you? Purple. And Chloe likes green. Daddy likes whatever color his coffee is in the morning. Maya laughed. That's a very practical favorite color. What do you do for work? Chloe asked, always the more serious of the two sisters. I run a technology company, Maya said. We make computer programs that help people with disabilities use technology more easily. That sounds important, Chloe said, impressed. It is important, Maya agreed. What about your dad? What does he do? He's a teacher, Amy said proudly. He teaches kids about computers at the elementary school. Maya looked at Ryan with new interest. Really, what grade? 3rd through 5th, Ryan said. I teach basic computer skills, some coding, digital citizenship, that kind of thing. That's amazing, Maya said, and she sounded like she really meant it. You're helping shape the next generation's relationship with technology. That's huge. Ryan felt heat rise in his cheeks. It's not as impressive as running your own company. Are you kidding? Maya said, turning her wheelchair to face him more directly while still moving to the music. Do you know how hard it is to teach kids about technology? You have to make it fun and safe and educational all at the same time. Plus, you're doing it alone while raising these two incredible human beings. That's superhero-level stuff right there. Ryan felt something warm spread through his chest. When was the last time someone had recognized how hard his life was? How much he was trying to balance? Usually people just saw a single dad getting by, not someone who was working as hard as he could to be everything his daughters needed. You're pretty amazing yourself, Ryan said. Running a company that helps people, coming to a wedding alone and being gracious when strangers ask you to dance. That takes courage. Maya's cheeks turned slightly pink. I almost left early, actually. I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself and thinking about going home to work on quarterly reports. I'm glad you didn't, Ryan said. We're glad you didn't, right, girls? Yes, Amy said enthusiastically. Maya, you're the best dancer we've met tonight. Well, you haven't danced with very many people, Maya pointed out with a grin. We danced with Uncle Mike earlier, Chloe said. He stepped on my feet 3 times. Then I'm definitely better than Uncle Mike, Maya said. The music slowed down again, and Ryan found himself moving closer to Maya's wheelchair. The dance floor was less crowded now, and he felt more comfortable with their rhythm. Maya looked up at him, and for a moment there was something in her expression that made his heart skip. This is nice, she said quietly, just loud enough for him to hear over the music. It is, Ryan agreed. I haven't felt this relaxed in a long time. How long has it been? Maya asked gently. Since your wife passed away. 2 years, Ryan said. 2 years, 3 months, and 16 days. But who's counting? Maya nodded with understanding. Grief is weird, isn't it? How it can sneak up on you at random moments, but then sometimes you can go hours forgetting to be sad. You sound like you know something about that, Ryan observed. Different kind of loss, Maya said, but loss all the same. My accident was 5 years ago. I had to grieve the life I thought I was going to have and figure out how to build a new one. And you built an amazing one, Ryan said. Your own company helping people, looking gorgeous at weddings. Maya smiled at that. Some days are better than others. Tonight is turning out to be a very good day. For me too, Ryan said. I almost didn't come tonight. The girls had to practically drag me out of the house. I'm glad they did, Maya said. They're pretty wise for their age. Ryan looked over at Chloe and Amy, who were now dancing with each other a few feet away, still staying close but giving the adults some space to talk. They are wise, Sometimes I think they understand things better than I do. Like what? Maya asked. Like the fact that isolating yourself doesn't actually protect you from getting hurt again, Ryan said. It just guarantees you'll be lonely. Maya was quiet for a moment, considering his words. That's very wise indeed, she finally said. Maybe we should listen to them more often. Maybe we should, Ryan agreed. And as the song ended and a new one began, neither of them made any move to leave the dance floor. She had ever dreamed, but right now, sitting in the parking lot of her college friend Lisa's wedding, she felt like that shy girl from years ago who always worried about fitting in. Maya transferred from her car to her wheelchair with the same confidence she used in boardrooms. She had been using a wheelchair since a car accident 5 years ago, and she had learned to navigate the world pretty well. Her business meetings, her office, her home, everything worked perfectly. But weddings were different. Weddings were full of dancing and standing around in groups, and sometimes Maya felt like she was watching life happen instead of living it. The venue was gorgeous. Fairy lights hung from the trees, and there were flowers everywhere. Lisa had always loved fancy things, even back in college. Maya smiled, thinking about how excited Lisa must be today. They had been roommates for 2 years, and Lisa had always talked about her dream wedding. Maya rolled her wheelchair along the stone path toward the reception area. A few people she didn't recognize smiled politely as she passed. She smiled back but kept moving. She had learned that stopping to chat often meant awkward conversations where people either treated her like she was made of glass or asked too many questions about her wheelchair. The reception tent was huge and beautifully decorated. Round tables with white tablecloths filled the space, and each one had a centerpiece of pink and white roses. Maya found the table with her name card. It was toward the back of the tent, which was probably for the best. She could see everything from here without being in anyone's way. As Maya settled into her spot, she watched the other guests finding their seats. There were Lisa's work friends looking professional even in their party clothes. Lisa's family was easy to spot. They all had the same laugh. And then there were the college friends, people Maya had lived with and studied with and stayed up all night talking with about their dreams for the future. Maya, oh my goodness, you made it. Lisa appeared beside her table, looking absolutely stunning in her white dress. Her face was glowing with happiness. I wouldn't miss it for anything, Maya said, reaching up to hug her friend. You look incredible. Like a princess, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I was worried you might be too busy with your company to come. Maya laughed. Never too busy for you. Besides, my assistant practically pushed me out the door. She said I work too much. Well, she's right about that, Lisa said with a grin. Promise me you'll have fun tonight. Dance a little, drink some champagne, forget about work for a few hours. I promise to try, Maya said. Lisa squeezed her hand and then rushed off to greet more guests. Maya watched her friend float from table to table, hugging people and laughing. Lisa had always been like that. The center of attention, the one who made everyone feel welcome. Maya envied that sometimes the ceremony was beautiful. Maya had a perfect view from her wheelchair, and she found herself getting emotional as Lisa and her husband Jake said their vows. They talked about supporting each other through good times and bad, about being partners in everything life would bring them. Maya thought about her own life and wondered if she would ever find that kind of partnership. After the ceremony, everyone moved to the reception tent for dinner. Maya's table had some nice people, a few of Lisa's cousins and some family friends. They chatted about work and travel and the beautiful wedding. Maya enjoyed the conversation, but she noticed how the talk naturally flowed around her sometimes. Not because people were being rude, but because social situations like this always felt a bit complicated. When you were the only person sitting down, the food was delicious, fancy chicken and vegetables that probably cost more than Maya usually spent on a week of groceries. She had grown up with simple food, and even though her company was successful now, she still appreciated a good meal. As they ate, Maya found herself watching the other tables. There were couples holding hands, friends taking selfies, and children getting excited about the cake that was waiting on a special table. When dinner ended, the DJ started playing music. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, it's time for the bride and groom's first dance. Everyone turned to watch as Lisa and Jake moved to the center of the dance floor. They looked so happy together, swaying to a slow song while everyone clapped and took pictures. Maya felt a familiar tightness in her chest. She loved seeing her friend so happy. But moments like this always reminded her of what felt missing in her own life. After Lisa and Jake finished dancing, other couples joined them on the dance floor. Parents danced with their children, bridesmaids danced with groomsmen, and married couples held each other close. Maya sipped her champagne and watched. She was good at watching. In business meetings, she watched people's faces to understand what they were really thinking. In restaurants, she watched how servers moved around tables to figure out the best path for her wheelchair. At events like this, she watched other people live their lives while wondering what her own life looked like from the outside. A group of Lisa's college friends waved at Maya from across the room, and she waved back. They were all dancing together, laughing and singing along to the music. Maya thought about joining them, but the dance floor was crowded and she didn't want to get in anyone's way. Plus, she had learned that dancing in a wheelchair often made other people uncomfortable, even when they tried to hide it. Instead, Maya stayed at her table and enjoyed the music. She people-watched and thought about her week ahead. There was a big presentation on Tuesday, and she needed to review the quarterly reports. Her company was launching a new product next month, and there were still some details to work out. Maya's mind was always working, always planning the next step. But tonight, sitting at this wedding, watching all these people celebrate love and commitment, Maya felt something she didn't usually let herself feel. She felt lonely. Not just alone, but truly lonely. She had success, money, respect, and a job she loved, but she didn't have someone to come home to at the end of the day. She didn't have someone to share the little victories and frustrations with. She didn't have what Lisa and Jake had found together. Maya finished her champagne and considered leaving early. She had congratulated Lisa, enjoyed a good meal, and put in enough time to be a good friend. Her driver could pick her up, and she could be home in 30 minutes. Maybe she would review those quarterly reports after all. The wedding reception was winding down when Ryan realized he and Maya had been dancing and talking for almost 2 hours. Other guests were starting to say their goodbyes, and the DJ was playing slower, quieter songs. Chloe and Amy had gotten tired about an hour ago, and were now sitting at a nearby table, sharing a piece of wedding cake and watching their dad with curious eyes. "I should probably get the girls home soon," Ryan said reluctantly, though he really didn't want this evening to end. "It's past their bedtime and Chloe has soccer practice in the morning." "Of course," Maya said, though she looked just as disappointed as he felt. "This has been wonderful. Thank you for asking me to dance." "Thank you for saying yes," Ryan replied. "I was terrified you'd think we were crazy." "I did think you were a little crazy," Maya admitted with a laugh. "But the good kind of crazy. The kind that makes life more interesting." They walked back toward Maya's table together, Ryan's daughters trailing behind them with sleepy faces and chocolate frosting on their dresses. As Maya gathered her purse and Ryan helped the girls put on their sweaters, he found himself not wanting to say goodbye to this woman who had made him feel more like himself than he had in months. "Maya," he said, his voice slightly nervous again, "I don't want to overstep, but would you maybe want to stay in touch? I mean, as friends. The girls would love to see you again and well, I'd love to see you again too." Maya smiled and Ryan felt his heart skip. "I'd like that very much. But actually, I was wondering something. You mentioned you teach computer skills to elementary kids, right?" "Right," Ryan said, not sure where this was going. "My company has been looking for ways to do more community outreach, especially in schools. We want to teach kids about accessible technology and help schools get better resources for students with disabilities. Would your school be interested in partnering with us on something like that?" Ryan's eyes widened. "Are you serious? That would be incredible. We have several students with different needs and our technology budget is pretty limited. The kids would love learning from real professionals." "Then let's make it happen," Maya said, pulling out her phone. "Here, put your number in here and I'll call you next week. We can set up a meeting and talk about what kind of program might work best for your school." As Ryan typed his contact information into Maya's phone, Amy tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, does this mean we get to see Maya again?" "It looks like it, sweetheart," Ryan said, smiling down at his younger daughter. "Good," Amy said matter-of-factly. "I like her. She makes you smile the way you used to smile with Mommy." Ryan felt his cheeks warm, but Maya just smiled gently at Amy. "I like you too. Amy and Chloe, you're both excellent dancers and very smart girls. Maybe next time we can teach you some more dance moves," Chloe offered, trying to stifle a yawn. I would love that, Maya said. 3 months later, Ryan was setting up chairs in his classroom for Maya's third visit to Jefferson Elementary School. What had started as a simple technology partnership had grown into something much more comprehensive. Maya's company had donated tablets and software to help students with learning disabilities, and Maya herself had been coming to the school once a month to work directly with the kids. But somewhere along the way, the professional relationship had become something more personal. Maya stayed after her school visits to have coffee with Ryan in his empty classroom. They texted each other throughout the week, sharing funny stories about work and sending pictures of interesting things they saw. On weekends, Maya had started joining Ryan and the girls for trips to the park, museum visits, and family movie nights at home. Ryan's daughters adored her. Maya never talked down to them or treated them like they were fragile because they had lost their mother. Instead, she listened to their stories, remembered important details about their lives, and treated them like the intelligent, capable kids they were. She helped Chloe with her science fair project and taught Amy how to create simple computer animations. More importantly, Maya understood what Ryan was going through as a single parent. She never tried to replace Kelly or act like an instant mother figure. Instead, she became someone Ryan could talk to about the challenges of raising kids alone, someone who celebrated the small victories and offered comfort during the difficult days. "Mr. Chen," one of his students called out, interrupting Ryan's thoughts. "Is Miss Maya coming today? She promised to show us how to make the computer talk." "She'll be here in about an hour, Jackson," Ryan said. "And yes, she's bringing the speech software you've been excited about." Jackson had a speech disorder that made it hard for him to communicate verbally, and Maya had suggested they try some assistive technology that might help him express himself more easily. She had spent her own time researching the best options and had even convinced her company to donate the equipment to the school permanently. That was who Maya was, Ryan had learned. Someone who saw a problem and found a way to fix it, whether it was helping a child communicate or teaching a lonely single father how to dance again. The classroom door opened, and Maya rolled in with her usual bright smile and a bag full of new technology to share with the students. "Good morning, everyone," she called out, and the kids erupted in excited greetings. As Maya set up her presentation, Ryan watched her interact with his students and felt his heart swell with something he hadn't expected to feel again. He was falling in love with this amazing woman who had entered his life through a simple dance at a wedding. After school, they sat in Ryan's classroom drinking coffee and planning the next month's technology lesson. The building was quiet, and the late afternoon sunlight streaming through the windows made everything feel peaceful and warm. "Maya," Ryan said suddenly, setting down his coffee cup. "Yes," she said, looking up from the lesson plan they had been working on. "I need to tell you something, and I'm not sure how to say it without sounding like I'm moving too fast or assuming things that might not be there." Maya's expression grew more serious. "What is it?" "I think I'm falling in love with you," Ryan said, his heart pounding. "Actually, I know I'm falling in love with you. And it scares me because I haven't felt this way since Kelly, and I don't want to mess up this friendship we have. But I also can't keep pretending that what I feel for you is just friendship." Maya was quiet for a long moment, and Ryan started to panic that he had ruined everything. "Ryan," she said finally, "I've been falling in love with you too. With you and with Chloe and Amy. You've become the family I didn't know I was missing." 6 months later, Ryan was standing in Maya's office after hours, more nervous than he had ever been in his life. It was a Friday evening, and Maya had just finished giving a presentation to the school board about expanding their accessibility program to other schools in the district. The presentation had been a huge success, and Ryan knew Maya's company was going to get a major contract that would help hundreds of children. Chloe and Amy were hiding behind Maya's desk, holding a handmade poster they had created that morning. Ryan's hands were shaking as he pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. "Maya," he said, his voice slightly unsteady, "could you turn around, please?" Maya turned from where she had been packing up her presentation materials, and her eyes widened when she saw Ryan kneeling beside her wheelchair, with Chloe and Amy holding up their poster behind him. The poster read, "Will you be our mom and business partner?" in colorful crayon letters with drawings of wheelchairs and hearts and stick figures of their little family. "Maya," Ryan said, opening the ring box to reveal a simple but beautiful diamond ring. These past 9 months have been the happiest I've been since Kelly died. You've brought joy back into our lives. You've made us feel like a complete family again. And you've shown me that it's possible to love someone new without forgetting someone I lost. Maya's eyes filled with tears as she looked from Ryan to the girls and back again. You've been the most amazing partner. In every way, Ryan continued. In business, in parenting, in life. Chloe and Amy love you like a mother, and I love you like I never thought I'd be able to love anyone again. Will you marry me? Will you be our family? And our business partner, too. Amy added excitedly. Because we want to help more kids like Jackson. Maya was crying now, but she was smiling through her tears. Yes, she said, her voice shaky with emotion. Yes to all of it. Yes to being your wife, yes to being Chloe and Amy's mom, and yes to being your business partner. Yes to everything. As Ryan slipped the ring onto Maya's finger, Chloe and Amy dropped their poster and rushed over to hug both of them. The four of them sat there in Maya's office, wrapped in each other's arms, crying and laughing and planning their future together. You know, Maya said, wiping tears from her cheeks, if someone had told me a year ago that I'd meet the love of my life at a wedding, where I was sitting alone feeling sorry for myself, I would never have believed them. If someone had told me that asking a stranger to dance would change my entire life, I would have thought they were crazy, Ryan said. But I'm so glad I listened to my daughters. They knew what I needed before I did. We're very smart, Amy said proudly, still hugging Maya tightly. Yes, you are, Maya said, kissing the top of Amy's head. And now we're going to be smart together, as a family. As they sat there making plans for their wedding, their business, and their life together, Ryan thought about that night at the wedding when he had been too scared to dance. Sometimes the best things in life happened when you stopped being afraid and took a chance on love, on connection, on the possibility that a single moment of courage could change everything.